going. I think we're live. Believe we are. Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and this is Movie Crap Live. My cat Buster's trying to knock everything over, but I am here. It is Saturday night. DC lit the world on fire. Let me make sure I can hear myself there. Oh, there I am.
I think we're live.
Yeah, sounds like past Jim should have known. Anyway, let's tweet that out. And oh, I missed. There's a Madagascar, a little Wilde. Totally missed that. Anyway, I think someone sent it to me and I didn't get to it. Anyway, all right. We are here doing it live. I think the tweet sent out. I hope it did. Anyway, whoa, Paleo's here. Let's get Buster. Let's go with the camera right with Buster because he is trying to knock everything over. Hold on. Hey, it's me. Oh, this camera should be lower. Anyway, it's me with Buster, who really wanted. He's knocking everything over tonight. What's up with you? You're a good cat. All right. So, first off, I might move the camera down a little. I didn't like it as much. Buster is the king of the streams. Let's move that. Oh. Okay. You did put it in there, Austin. I'm sorry. I realized I didn't get to watch it. It's been a crazy week. It has been a crazy week for me. It really has. I had to go back to what the fuck? Paleo. Damn. I didn't well, I mean, you should. You know, I just didn't. We should just talk about that. Maybe I should call Paleo. We should make this stream about Paleo's cat getting neutered. Anyway. No, it's been a crazy week. I had to go back into work out of quarantine, so it's been weird. So I'm sorry if it was a weird week. I had that YouTube problem. I couldn't get the video just processed for almost an hour and a half, and I wanted to go to bed, and so that kind of delayed everything. And yeah, it was a weird week, but I'm here now. Sorry about the Madagascar thing, Austin. That is my bad. And I'm also sorry I didn't get to. Oh, hold on. Hey, how's it going, Paddle? I think that, hey, happy Saturday, many cheers, and Snyder Cut leaks for everyone. The first super chat of the night. Cheers to you. We are also sorry I did not get to post the short film in the Discord early. I posted it on Twitter. Apologize for that. Last night I've been working on a lot of projects. I think coming weeks there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming. Developing a lot of cool stuff. And the Saber Sparks video, I believe, is coming out next Friday. Not even sure at this point. But I can tell you, I've read it, and it's going to be really cool. It's like, there's so many things. You guys don't even, I mean, you don't, because you haven't read it. But as someone who has, it's going to be really cool. Oh my god, Paleo, you're right. We were going to do that. Damn it. You should have said something earlier in quarantine. We should do that maybe on Monday. Let's not talk now. Should I just call you? Do I still have your number? Paleo, would you get upset do I still have Paleo's number? I think I have it under Paleo. I do. Paleo, give me confirmation that I can call you, because I sort of want to ask you questions now. But looking forward to... Yeah, no, there's some cool stuff coming. I'm excited for that. A lot of stuff I can't really talk about. Stuff with people you're not expecting. All that good stuff. Also, Kevin James released a behind-the-scenes video. What was it? Yesterday. Check that out. Bloxy, I'm sure, did. My service is bad, so calling on Discord would be better. Oh, if I call on Discord on my phone, it's not going to work. Damn it! Okay, I need to get a better computer so I can have, guests on. Not just, the video. Which I do have a guest on. I have Robert Cheek. Let's say Robert Cheek. He's also running for president. And he's going to be on the show recommending stuff for Hulu, which is going to be really cool. I also have a lost film file about Bobby's Girl, which is a Ralph Bakshi film that him and John Kay were developing that didn't happen, but has been, and no one knows the plot also, but it's kind of a lost film file in there, and the Groovians, I forget how I'm supposed to say that. Anyway, one day Paleo, we'll do it live. Should I just call Paleo? No, maybe I will. No, well, we've hyped it up. Sorry, Paleo. Let me do speaker. Let's call Paleo right now. Let's see. I mean, we guess we know he's home, right? Because he's here. Fuck it. We'll do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Nice, Ryan. Uh-oh. What if he doesn't have that phone?
Hello?
Hey, Paleo. How's it going?
Good.
so
It's weird because, like, there's a delay, so I just saw you, like, talk about calling me, and then as you were calling me.
Yeah, that's... Sorry. So, how have you been?
Alright.
How,
I was playing that Samurai Jack game yesterday.
Is it good?
It's alright.
Okay, yeah, that seems to be...
Yeah, they don't really add too much to, like, what they did with Season 5.
Oh. Well, tell us about your cats getting neutered.
Yeah, so Patch is my new cat that I got in May. He's, like, old enough now to get neutered, so when I take him to drop him off at the vet on Monday.
Oh, you just like a drop off and you pick him up?
Yeah. So,
okay.
I just go in the parking lot and then call them when I'm there, and they
because
take him in,
well,
and
that's
I'll drive back home, and then they'll call me, then I'll go back there and pick them up.
okay. Oh, Austin says in the super chat says Echo the Dolphin. I'm assuming that's because you're here. Cheers to you, Austin.
Yeah. Also, Echo the Dolphin is spelled with 2 C's and no H.
Wow, that's a Paleo fact. I love that. We should do the best movies of 2010 stream. I think when you asked me, life was a little crazy, and then it like fell by the wayside, and then, damn it, we should still do that. I don't know when.
Because I was gonna do other videos about, like, I was gonna do my top, like, live action movies of the decade, and also I was gonna do one for anime and video games, but I never got around to them. But I'll probably do them sometime, like, next month maybe.
I never did a best of the decade because it was just like, I don't know. It's a lot of work making a top 10, you know, and it's like, in a decade, I don't know. I mean, it would just be Fury Road and 9 Losers, but it would have been cool, but it's hard to, I don't know. But we should do that.
Yeah, I think doing a live stream, just like talking about the stuff that came out would be fun.
We should do that. I don't know when. Maybe a Monday. I don't know. We shouldn't work it out here because everyone can hear us. But anyway, well, what did you, before you go and before I get into it, what did you think of the Batman trailer?
I just saw the teaser that Jax posted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Batman, I guess.
That was great. Thank you so much. Well, I'm sorry I cold called you during a live stream, and I'll talk to you.
That's all right.
I'll talk to you later, and good luck to your cat.
All right, thank you.
All right, cool. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that happened. All right. Anyway, other things with life before we get into it. We showed Sophie, because this is a question that always comes up. We showed Sophie Kung Fu Panda. That was cool. She liked it. She watched it again today, so already a hit. Doesn't want to watch 2, just want to watch Kung Fu Panda over and over again. But I like Kung Fu Panda. I fell asleep because it'd been a long week, but I got to watch the part I fell asleep during today, so that was cool. Not much else, but a lot of stuff I'm working on that I'm excited about. So that's all I'm going to say. And Paleo's back in the Discord. Anyway, Austin, you screwed me up. In the chat. Anyway, so first, before we get into it, I want to mention the Discord, which is really great. There's a lot of great things on there. Austin and Zane Powers do a great job. There's a lot of great... If you can be here when we're live and you enjoy talking with the chat, then the Discord's there 24/7. You can hang out with these people, as well as if you do get to be here and enjoy everyone's company. Most of these people in the chat are on the Discord. I don't think I'm speaking for everyone, but most of them are. Or if you have always wanted to hang out with these people, you can. Oh, also, I forgot the big thing. I have a Courage the Cowardly Dog shirt this time. See? Look at that. I forgot about... My brother-in-law gave it to me. Anyway, I forgot. I was like, there's a reason I wore this. But yeah, the Discord has cool things. Like there's an Ask Jim channel. There's a suggestions for Jim channel. So you can ask me a question. If you don't get your question answered in the chat, you can always post it in the comments. I try to answer comments as much as I can, but I answer every question in that Discord channel, as well as you can suggest short films and movies you'd like me to review and all that stuff. And yeah, it's an awesome community. So hang out in the Discord. You should join. I really like it a lot. And most of the time I post a short film I'm going to review the night before. That's what I usually do. This is the only time I screwed it up. I'm sorry, it was a crazy week. Next week is also a crazy week, but I'm going to be smarter about it. The other thing is my videos and pretty much everything I do, including the show, is supported by viewers like you, either through Patreon, where we have lots of exclusive content, and you get sent videos. Yeah, you get exclusive videos, postcards, more power in the movie review vote, all that good stuff, even like Skype calls. It's pretty neat. And then for the top tier patrons, and then support me through super chats during the show. If you're financially able to do so, I very much appreciate it, and thank you for helping me still be able to make these videos. It is really cool of all of you who do so. Just want to say that I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much. But those are great ways to support the show. But if you can just give a like, subscribe, or just watch, if that's all you can do, thank you very much. All right, so yeah. All right, so let's get into it. We are going to talk about the DC stuff first. I wasn't going to originally, and then I was like, oh, wait, that's kind of all anyone's talking about today. So we'll basically do the DC fandom thing first, and then get into other news. Overall, the DC fandom, the only panel I watch really from beginning to end is the Batman thing. I actually watch it from Trailer Drake or Comic Drake or whatever stream. He seemed very tired at the time and grumpy, but that was the end of an 8-hour stream. I get it, bro. It's cool, but I thought he was really great. I like that guy. But I like how they did the fandom, and I have to say I think everyone looked at Comic-Con and went, you guys screwed this up, because you're supposed to have big revelations and big trailers and big news, and the DC fandom, whether you like DC or not, they did that. They very much did that. And thank you to them, because I think they showed us how... Sorry, phone's distracting me. I think they showed us how you can do an online convention. Pretty much everyone's saying, oh, you can do this, blah, blah. But they really did it. Now, the big thing that came out, and there are a lot of cool trailers and revelations and things like that, is, of course, the Batman trailer, which just happened. I watched the panel. Is mostly Matt Reeves talking about how much of an honor it was and everything like that. How wonderful it was to be. He really repeated himself a lot. But before we get into the Batman trailer, Bloxy, nice to see you, said, Jim, your 12-ounce mouse videos have been really good. Thank you. I'm very proud of them, by the way. I'm very proud. I have 3 12-ounce mouse reviews on my channel. I'm the only one other than like Adult Swim UK or something. And you're right, I did see the Kevin James video. It's really good. I'm just waiting for your review. I guess I will. Cheers to you. I don't know if I'm going to review that, but I did really I've watched that Jaws one twice, I will say. You have a Kevin James agenda like no one I've ever seen, and I don't think it's ironic. I think you do really like the YouTube channel. It's not a bad YouTube channel, I will say. It's actually kind of a lot more interesting than him just like Will Smith talking about things. Like, it's sort of like a lot more creativity. Anyway, but the Batman trailer, I really did like it. My main kind of thing with this and all Batman stuff is, I get that if we make Batman movies, effectively you're making a crime movie on a huge budget, which you can't really do anymore, which Nolan started. My main thing with this, and apparently it is Batman Year 2, as he keeps saying. It's not Batman Year 1. It's sort of like the Batman Year 2 thing. It's not specifically Batman. They haven't said specifically along Halloween or Year 1 or anything. It's very influenced by Year 1, but it seems like a Year 2 thing. And Matt Reeves said that a lot. That's interesting, but I kind of wish it was more of a reinvention. It feels like a lot of things we've seen in Batman before, but I still thought it was really awesome. Despite, like, I think I said on Twitter, it's like, it looks like the kind of grimy Batman realistic crime movie that we're used to from a Batman movie, but it looked really good at it. I like the idea of more of a rogues gallery. Maybe it's a better idea of kind of just a genre crime film than what Nolan was doing. He kind of like got his head up his ass too much bit, and I think Matt Reeves doesn't do that as much, or at least for this one. But I did really like it. The Batsuit. I'm also not in love with the body armor Batsuit. I actually kind of prefer Affleck's or Batflex or whatever Batsuit, to be honest with you. But I liked like the Catwoman stuff. I liked the cinematography was great. I noticed with his, because he's wearing, because I don't know if you knew this, but Bruce Parker brings up that the Nirvana was great. Something in the Way is a great song. It was really cool to hear Something in the Way, though. I like Something in the Way. It's not like the most known Nirvana song. It's not like Smells Like Teen Spirit, but it was cool to see that in there. But yeah, I generally really enjoyed it. I thought they did a good job. But the black. So basically, when you wear a Batman suit, most people are wearing like black makeup, so you don't see their skin, so it looks spookier. And when he took that off, I noticed it has sort of a Cabinet of Dr. Caligari look, which Tim Burton was very influenced by as well. And it's kind of a, the kind of German expressionism silent film look is very much in that film, which I thought is really cool because that's something that's been going on with Batman forever. And it's something that's really good with Batman, actually. It really works with Batman. So I really appreciated a bunch of like German expressionist references in that trailer. You get hints at Seven, you get various cultural touchstones of those kind of things, and some of it is expected, but I'm still very curious about this film. It just looks like a really solid crime film, and I think that's one of the things about Matt Reeves as a director is I when I look at his stuff, I usually am not blown away. I wasn't blown away by like the look of it necessarily. I'm more blown away by the story, and he's sort of a studio director, but a really smart one. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that like he's a fine-tooth comb kind of story guy, and I think the Batman could be really cool with that, and I'm very excited for it. Yeah, I think it looks really great, and also Robert Pattinson as Batman, and then him beating up this Joker Doug Walker looking guy. I almost took a picture on the trailer and posted on Twitter, and I was like, Doug Walker's in the Batman, but I talk about Doug Walker too much for someone who never watches him. But yeah, it was funny. So many people were making fun of him being like a goth Batman, but I first saw the goth Batman thing, and then I was like, that's German expressionism. That's Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So anyway, other Batman news, we got the Batman logo, which you saw at the end of the trailer, which is in red, which is a nice touch, as well as the Jim Lee drawing, which, hey, Jim Lee's good at drawing Batman, guys. The Colin Farrell thing, I've seen a bunch of people, some film journalists have said Colin Farrell actually has not shot any of his scenes yet, so that can't be Colin Farrell. Some people are saying it is Colin Farrell. I don't want to comment on it because it seems to be a debate, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. So that guy looks cool if he is Colin Farrell. If he isn't, he still looks kind of cool, but unfortunately, how would you like someone saying, oh man, you look fucking so so ugly, you look like Colin Farrell in makeup, so I hope it's not him. Oh, here we go. Hello, Mendozable, I think. THB, as much as I like the announcements, as a Superman fan, I'm just tired at how Warner Brothers DC doesn't care for him unless he's evil or dead. That is very true. Cheers to you. I hope I'm saying that right. Mendozable, I think. Anyway, cheers to you. Thank you for being here. I think you're very right. Superman isn't treated very well by them. And I actually think, I don't know if I talked about this on a previous stream, and this has to do with your question, actually. I've been showing my daughter, and I think I tweeted about the Fleischer Supermans. I've been showing them, and she gets really into them. And I was thinking about how there isn't a Superman movie, a modern Superman movie for kids. And Superman, essentially, what works about him is he's universal for everyone. And I think one of the things I really hated about, the modern Superman stuff is they don't get that love of that character. They get like this kind of a reaction to that character, but you're not giving the younger generation a chance to fall in love with him. So Man of Steel isn't made for little kids. It's made for people who already fell in love with Superman. But because of that, you're not giving people a chance, which I think is unfortunate. I think they really, I think they really should kind of really do a good. I thought Supergirl. I watched the very beginning of that show, and I thought it got that kind of like love for like doing good and saving people, and that's what makes Superman cool. And that doesn't sound cool necessarily to people, but that is what I love about that character, and I want that shit. So we'll see what's going on. I know there's like some panels with possibly with Henry Cavill. Maybe they're going to reveal something. I think they're doing something tomorrow. I think they're doing something in September. So we'll see. It seems like he's going back in the fold, but we'll see about that. Red Duck 413 says, I miss campy fun Batman. I think we get more campy fun Batman because of Lego Batman. And I feel like people are more open to that necessarily. We need to get Superman that for that as well. So cheers to you, Rocket Duck 413. Also, before I go into other Batman stuff, I realize I feel bad about this. I did not say hi to everybody at the beginning of the show because Buster was knocking things over. So I want to say hi to Bruce Parker, M Blood T, The Rocket, Lomax, Austin, Ryan Walterson, TuneJ723, Paleo, Niji Kishu's here. Let me get to yours. Javier Portello, Nattenbach64, everyone who's here. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't get to do that. Victor Samurai, Viento Samurai? Oh man, okay, let's get back to the... Okay, we're getting some super chats here. Okay, Niji Kichu, fun fact, Kryptonite was... Okay, fun fact, Kryptonite was created because the voice of Superman on the radio show back in the day wanted to go on vacation. I didn't know that. That's actually really cool, Niji Kichu. Everyone look up, I don't know if you heard about how the Superman radio show actually took down the Klan. That's a great story, by the way. But that is, I never heard that. Niji Kichu always has a fun fact that I never knew, and that's funny. You want to... I like that. Cheers to you, Niji Kichu. I'm glad you're back. I missed you last week. Cheers to you. Oh, it's always fun when Niji Kichu is here. And we have a Ryan Walterson. Speaking of, hold on. Speaking of Supergirl, I'm craving Popeyes as seen in the 1984 classic Supergirl. I've actually never seen that, and I've thought about it for like almost my entire life. I need to do that at some point. Someone's going to put that in the Patreon review now. I know, but I should at some point. Anyway, cheers to you, Ryan Walterson. Maybe when Wonder Woman comes out, we'll do it. Why not? All right, are we back up to... It's cool, Niji Kichu. Anytime you can be here, if you can't, I love you either way. Sayelko Plus, how are you doing? Jordan Bouchard, Jordan Solafalo, Bloxy Oxenwinkle, Mandela Butterfly. Anyway, I think I've said everyone's name. But thank you all for being here. I'm sorry. Life is crazy, as we all know, for everyone. All right, so... I like Ryan's Supergirl's horrible. Watch it now. All right, so other Batman news. First off, the film is going to go back in production in September. They've only shot about 30%. If you're wondering, how could they have a trailer with only 30% shot? It is because most of the time when you have a major movie in production, like a major blockbustery movie thingy and stuff, they shoot all the kind of stuff that's intended to be in a trailer first, so they have more time to kind of... get the I guess like color corrected and everything like that. So that's basically how they did that. But it's going back in production, as well as this is sort of Flash news, but it's Batman related. Ben Affleck will be coming back as Batman in the Flash movie. Apparently there'll be 2 Batmans. Michael Keaton is confirmed. Ben Affleck is pretty much confirmed as well. And they're going to have sort of Flashpoint things. Apparently there's some moving thing with Ben Affleck and why he agreed to come back. I feel like this is, as long as we've known about a Flash movie, people have talked about how this was the exit of Ben Affleck's character, and then we got a confirmation. Everyone's like, oh, this is crazy. I'm like, haven't we been hearing about this for like, since there was like him wanting to leave news? Like, I always feel like there's always news that this was going to happen, and it was always this rumor, and then it happened. So I sort of don't believe it like just happened this week. I think it's like been in the planning stages, and it would come in and come out in development. But anyway, that is going to happen. Moving on to more Batman news, DC news. The Wonder Woman 1984 trailer looked really cool. It's not as fun, I think, as the previous trailer, which had Blue Monday from New Order, which I thought was great. This one was still good. It still had a lot of fun. You get more of the Steve Trevor kind of jokey stuff with him and her, and you get to see Kristen Wiig's character. I I didn't. Yeah, it's like I'm still excited for this movie. I'm curious, like, what's going to happen with Steve Trevor, or it's Cheetah, right? Cheetah. Anyway, I'm curious about like what the main plot is going to be. I like that Wonder Woman's fighting her main supervillain character in this, but we'll see where this is going to go. I also noticed like Kristen Wiig for most of it looked just like Sarah Paulson, like when she's crying and stuff. It looked just like, oh, this is, you know, is that what she looks like as the supervillain? She looks like Sarah Paulson. Okay, yeah, Cheetah looks really cool. I like that poster they had, which reminded me a lot of, and I posted on Twitter that if you look at old graphic design of the book 1984, I don't think there has anything to do with George Orwell in this movie, but I think they wanted to make a reference, I guess, visually. Also, in other news, Static Shock. This is not something that many people have been talking about, and I know there was I know Comic Drake was talking about there was a lot of like kind of racist trolls while he was doing the Milestone panel, which DC is involved with. But there's going to be a Static Shock movie is in development, and that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like they are trying to do something with the Static Shock character. I'm not really surprised since there's so much love for that character. And it seems like kind of like the most popular thing I'd say from Milestone. I don't know Milestone that well, unfortunately, but Static Shock was so huge. And I think that's big news. I haven't really heard as much about that, but the fact that they're at least talking about and developing a Static Shock thing is really hopeful. Also consider that this was a DC-controlled event. Like, they clearly, like, vetted these people. You know, they weren't going to, like, they're going to cut their mic off if they're saying the wrong thing. So the fact that this got out the way it did shows to me that's a vote of confidence from the people actually making it. It's not just, you know, some weird tweet and you're like, oh, is it true? No, if they revealed anything during this thing, then it's real, and I think we should be talking more about that Static Shock is coming back and the possibility of that coming back. I'm surprised, like, I couldn't find much of it on Twitter. I didn't see it trending, but I was, you know, doing various things throughout the day, but I hope the Static Shock thing happens. I think culturally we need something like that now. But it sounds like a cartoon as well as a movie. Then the Suicide Squad stuff. We got a roll call. Jordan Bouchard posted about it. Thank you, Jordan. We got a Suicide Squad roll call video, kind of showing you every single person who's in this, which is a crazy cast with crazy costumes, and we got kind of a teaser making of sort of thing with James Gunn. Which is called The Suicide Squad. That seems to be a real big DC thing, starting things with the... It looked really cool, actually. I really got excited for that. And before I was like, okay, you know, I'm sure it'll be fun. But this looked like weird and funkier. It sort of reminded me more of his earlier stuff than the Guardians of the Galaxy thing, because it seems like they let him get stranger and culty. We didn't see Taika? What? What's that mean? But I'm confused by what Austin's saying right now. But the Suicide Squad roll call, it looked cool. I really... Taika's it. Yes, that's right. I think he just voices a character. Sorry, that took me a minute, Austin. I'm not sure which character he voices. I think it's a small character. But as I said on Twitter, I think that large cast means, like, people are definitely going to be killed in this. Like, a lot. I think you're going to see that quite frequently, but I'm glad they let James Gunn like go off as much as they did. It seems like DC's more into. They've always said that. Warner Bros. Has always said that they want directors to kind of go off and do their own auteur thing, and you really get that from the Suicide Squad teaser and everything like that. Tyga the Rapper, yes. But James Gunn, I mean, it looks like an awesome James Gunn blockbuster thing, so I think it's going to be pretty cool. Shazam, there wasn't much revealed from Shazam except, and this took me a minute, and Ryan and I were messaging about it, and he said they had Sinbad, and I was like, Sinbad? Why is Sinbad at the Shazam? And he was like, and for a while I thought, was Sinbad in Shazam? And I go, oh right, the internet Mandela effect thing. So, yeah, Sinbad showed up to the panel. That's funny. We didn't learn much about Shazam 2 other than the title is going to be Shazam 2 Fury of the Gods. I really like Shazam. It's a great family movie. I don't think it's age appropriate right now for my daughter, but I will probably show it at some point because I really, really like that movie. It's really great. What happened to College Humor? Is the College Humor is over, right? Did they rip the channel down or something? Somebody explain that to me. Anyway, I love College Humor. It sucks that they don't. They sort of make these Zoom call videos, but they're not. Anyway, I hope Sinbad is in Shazam too, but I think it's funny because of the Shazam Mandela effect thing. I think it'd be funny if I'm surprised he wasn't in the first one, but anyway. Moving on, we got the Black Adam costume with The Rock. The Black Adam costume from The Rock is kind of like what any fan art expected it to be, but we did get that the Justice Society is going to be in it, and it's going to have Hawkman, Cyclone, Dr. Fate, and Atom Smasher. Those all looked really cool. The Black Adam thing, I feel like we've been talking about for so long, and even got The Rock like an executive producer credit on Shazam, so it's pretty cool. Okay. Yes, I remember the Shazam thing with Sinbad on College Humor. Okay, sorry. I can't get these vague references sometimes. I remember it now, but yeah, so that's everything with that. Now, let's move on. The Snyder Cut. Ugh. First off, I am sick of ever talking about this. I hope we never have to talk about the Snyder Cut again. It is exhausting for a movie that cinematically represents virtually nothing than a bunch of edgelords thinking that, dark, serious things mean it's good, which it doesn't. But first we got the trailer, and which was fine. It seemed like we got sort of, I agree, it looked like stuff we had seen before, or certainly shots that were close to what we got before. And then we learned that it's going to be 4 different hour-long episodes. I've heard people say they want this because they realize how big The Mandalorian was for HBO, for Disney Plus. I don't think it's that. I think they just want they want just the whole Snyder Cut thing gone, and they're like, just do as much as you want. But the fact that this was like a 2-hour movie, was supposed to be 2.5-hour movie, and you shot enough for 4 hours, that is ridiculous. I'm sorry, that is way too much crap. So I'm curious. I guess I'm gonna have to watch this. Not excited for that. But the Twitter thing with Zack Snyder, I gotta say, what Zack Snyder did on Twitter today was pretty gross. It just did not reflect well on him. And it's like he's already getting his way. He's getting a ridiculous new cut of a movie that came out for a while ago. And he actually responded to a guy I really like, who's Scott Mendelson, who works for Forbes. He's really great about box office. He really knows his stuff about box office, by the way. He's an incredibly smart guy. Probably one of the best writers about box office I've ever heard. And so he said, this is what Scott Mendelson said. So Scott Mendelson said, so the trailer for the Snyder Cut of Justice League looks like the same movie. Lots of deleted scenes from the marketing campaign, but otherwise it looks like alternate takes of existing scenes, which, it does. All right? I think there are a few things he was probably too hard on it. Scott Mendelson can be too hard on things. But then Zack Snyder retweeted it and then said on it with comment, he said, you said you enjoyed the theatrical cut of Justice League like you enjoyed your Saturday morning cartoons. Well, this is made for grown-ups, so you're not in the demographic. Also, cool of you to comment on a leaked teaser. Which, how is it leaked? It played at a panel? Did it leak right before? I don't know. That's weird. Also, journalists have to do that sometimes. I'm sorry. And it just... He's referring to something that's clearly from Scott Mendelson's review of Justice League, which is also weird. That upsets him so much. But whatever. Zack Snyder, the fact that he did that, Scott Mendelson's a real professional and a real smart guy, and he handled it well. But it just, I just don't. This whole thing with the Snyder Cut, I just want it to be over. I just want this thing to come out. I want to move past this, because it's like the Donner Cut when that came out. Nobody talks about that crap anymore. Nobody goes, it could have been great, and then they had it, and they're like, yeah, well, maybe, Superman 2 is pretty cool. Alright, so, that is all. I'm going to drink some water after this, because That was a lot of DC news. Holy crap. DC knew how to take over all the movie news for Saturday. Was there other movie news today? Who the fuck knows? Because how could you tell after all that stuff? I mean, it's just like... They just really... Yeah. Alright, so, one of the actors... Yeah, let me drink some water. There we go. There's a Jurassic Park 3 fan cut? That I'm interested in. Because as you know, Jim and Paleo are Jurassic Park 3 fans. Or at least I am. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if he wants to fall in that sword. So the actor of Squidbillies, who plays Early, Stuart Baker, has been fired because of offensive comments he made about Dolly Parton, who supported Black Lives Matter. Now, what Dolly Parton did is, mainly she talked about how she's not going to use the word Dixie, which she said way before. I've heard of that way before June and everything like that. But she came out in support of Black Lives Matter, and this guy got really upset, calling her, you know, like, only hillbillies like your music, and being very offensive to Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton's great, and anyone who's going to talk shit about Dolly Parton, that's never going to go over well because she's a national treasure. I don't really know much about Stuart Baker. I know he like does music and things like that. He looks sort of ridiculous, but he is I don't know. It was a dumb move. It's more surprising that Squidbillies is still running because it's like, wow, this show is still going after all these years. I'm shocked that we're still getting Squidbillies, but we are, and this guy's no longer going to be involved because Adult Swim fired him like fairly quickly because of what he was saying about Dolly Parton. I think it was just stupid of him, really, because everyone knows you don't talk shit about Dolly Parton. So she's awesome. I mean, you know what I mean? I just think he just got really upset. And a lot of the things she was saying, I was like, if you follow Dolly Parton and listen to that recent podcast, she was already doing some of that stuff. So it was like he was really out of the loop and just wanted to react and be stupid, and Adult Swim didn't want to deal with him. So kudos to them and so forth. So, yeah, he does look like exactly like what you'd expect him to look like. So yeah. All right. So Infinity Train. Apparently, and glitch text, but I have no problem with glitch text. I just haven't seen it, so I don't really want to talk about that necessarily, but I'll bring it up in the story. So we learned recently through Twitter, Owen Dennis talked about how through another person who worked on the show that most of the crew of Infinity Train had been let go, and if the ratings don't improve for book 3, there will not be a book 4 or anything like that. Although I thought we were going to get a book 4 in January, but I guess that's it. That's, you know, if we don't really support them, as well as Glitch Text, most of the creative team has been let go from that show as well. This is sad, especially because we've been getting, you know, I think everyone's been really loving book 3. I actually did not get to watch the 3 episodes because there's so much I thought I would before the stream and I didn't. But I'm going to do a full book 3 review eventually, so you know, I will see it then, so nobody ruin anything. But it's just unfortunate because I feel like all the reviews have been behind it, and there's a lot of support behind Infinity Train, and it sucks that like we've been losing a lot of really good animated shows, and it does feel like we're kind of at a cross point with animation because so much stuff can't happen, and that'll get into my next story. Because of COVID and everything, but it's just sad that like this is gonna get maybe not supported as much. But I will say it seems like they supported Infinity Train a lot more because it's on HBO Max, not Cartoon Network, and it has been, I've seen, pushed more on the homepage of HBO Max, and that is a bigger platform in terms of less just people who watch Cartoon Network. So at least they're trying. I'll give them that. But I still think, like, try to support Infinity Train. I know if you're in the cartoon community, you already are. But, you know, try to get people into it. But it does stink, and it's worrying to hear that. But, you know what? To look at it in the best way, with at least Infinity Train and Glitch Text, is we've gotten a lot of Infinity Train in the past year. Like, 3 seasons in a year. And they've all been fantastic. And that is wonderful. I can't really say that for Glitch Text just because I haven't seen it. But if you've gotten what you've gotten from that, I think we've gotten a lot of great animation. So let's celebrate what we have for now, and hopefully we'll get more at some point. I hope that they let them make a book 4 and a book 5 and up to 8 as they want to. So it just sucks that they would promote it more, or just like keep it going. Like, I think, I'm curious if book 3, because it's been getting so much better reviews and more prominent reviews than I've seen from the other books, which I think book 2 was really great, and book 1 was great too, so I'm a little surprised. I hope they get sort of, if they got an Emmy nomination or something, I think that could keep going. So I'm sort of hopeful for that. And I agree, Not Plausible brings up buy Infinity Train merch, don't pirate it, and make some noise online. That is a good message. Thank you, Not Plausible, you're right. Infinite Seasons. You know what, Paleo? I agree with that. But actually, guy named Crystal, is there Infinity Train merch? I don't know if there is. So as we were talking about animation being more of a priority for companies, one thing we've been hearing a lot is Viacom, CBS, and particularly Comedy Central. And although we've been hearing about Beavis and Butthead, the regrettable idea of a Ren and Stimpy reboot, Jody, all these animated shows, we haven't heard much about the live action thing. And here's the other side of that, is that Drunk History and Tosh.0 were both canceled by Comedy Central this week. Now, both have been given pickups preceding this, but because of COVID, they've decided to completely cut back on that. Tosh.0 actually had a 4-season pickup, which they've now reneged on. They've said they're not going to do that. They pulled back a 4-season order, which is insane to me, that I've never heard of a show getting a huge order like that and then them taking it away. That's crazy. Especially because I feel like he could do that in his house. Like, I don't understand. The Tosh.0 one confuses me the most. I'm not really a fan of his or anything, but like, I was just like, couldn't he shoot it at his house? Like, were they like, it's an audience or nothing? Like, I don't know. I just don't get that. But Drunk History, I think, is really sad, because I think there's a lot of great Drunk History episodes. And it just stinks that, I guess because people are drinking, and I think you could do the 6 feet thing, but it'd be hard, doing historical things. So, I mean, I think you could do it animated, frankly, but is it as much fun without the celebrity stuff? I don't know. I just think, what? Oh, Will's saying there's something up with the super chat. I don't think there is. I hope not. That sucks if it is. But I think, it's interesting, because as much as I'm happy that a company is pushing animation so much, it stinks that they're killing live action shows. I'm a little curious, like, it seems like they're sticking with The Daily Show, but I'm curious how many other because those are 2 of the biggest Comedy Central shows that isn't The Daily Show. So I'm just surprised. I'm a little sad, because I like Drunk History. That's a show I could just put on anytime and appreciate. I particularly like their Works one, by the way. So R.I.P. to Drunk History. Tosh.0, I'm not a big fan either way, but I think it is sad to see that go. All right, so oh, that sucks that it keeps rejecting it. We'll try again, I guess. I'm sorry, Will. That sucks. All right, so we drink some more water. Let's talk about before I get into that, Earth to Ned, a new talk show from Jim Henson, the Jim Henson Company. It's going to be on Disney Plus. I guess this is like sort of their second kind of talk show thing. Muppet kind of thing, because you had the Not So Late Show with Elmo and all that. It looks really cool. Like I've said before, and why I'm pro Muppets now and stuff, which I'm an episode behind on that actually, the Muppets became popular through talk shows and interacting with celebrities, so I think this is like a natural way to take it. It looks like a cool talk show. I'm curious, because it's sort of an original property. I hope people check it out. But I like the trailer so far. It didn't really showcase like the interview between the character and the celebrities, which I think is really the showcase from it, but it kind of showed you the concept and everything like that, and looked very promising. Moving on. All right. So let me talk about one thing, and then I'll talk about the Cuties Netflix thing. And then we'll have 2 Netflix stories. Brickleberry. Was that Tosh.0? Did Tosh.0 do Brickleberry? When do we not talk about Brickleberry? You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a Planes, Trains, and Automobile. There's going to be a Planes, Trains, and Automobile remake with Kevin Hart and Will Smith. Apparently, Kevin Hart is going to be the John Candy role, and Will Smith will be the Steve Martin role. In general, I think if this idea had been pitched and it's not Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it sounds like a good vehicle for both of them to work together. Kevin Hart. Sorry, Kevin. A lot of people were saying, why don't they reverse the roles? But I don't think that would really work with Will Smith. It sounds like it could be fun if it wasn't the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles thing. I don't really know why you'd want to rebrand it, because it sounds like you're just going to get a lot of unnecessary hate and people saying, like, this is not my Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, stuff like that. But if it was just like a simple comedy with the two of them, I'm sure it would be fine and make a lot of money. I kind of just don't understand why you do it with a already made film. And a lot of people have talked about, like, someone, Embla Teespring up in the chat, due date. So I think we'll see what's going on. I would much rather it be Kevin James and Will Smith, actually, and not just because of Bloxy. I would actually like it to be that. But here we go, bragging right. When I was in LA in March, when I saw For the Love of the Glove, I met Jeff Miner, who was one of the main voices on Brickleberry. I guess, Ryan. Oh, cheers to you. Of all celebrities, cheers to you. Alright, so kind of one of the bigger movie controversies of the week was this thing about the Cuties poster from Netflix. So basically, the poster came out about Cuties, and everyone freaked out because of both the poster and the description that said there are these girls who are in a twerking a dance twerking competition. When I had first heard about this, I saw the trailer, and when I saw the trailer, I went, "Oh, this is a standard dance movie. These girls are dancing and doing, it's like a standard dance movie." And here we go. Before I get into this, Will, whose super chat went through, sorry about all that nonsense, Will. Snyder is such a dweeb that he doesn't realize you can't make art and entertainment coincide. Clearly hasn't learned anything after all this. I would agree with that, Will. Cheers to you. Nice quote there, man. Cheers to you. But yeah, so Austin, you missed Ryan's brag. Oh, it was a legendary brag of all brags, Austin. It was a legendary brag. A Brickleberry brag. A Brickle brag? Anyway, a Brickle brag. Hashtag Brickle brag. Ryan, do that. Write that fact and tweet out hashtag Brickle brag. Let's make that trending. I don't think I have that power, but anyway, so when I first heard about this, I watched the trailer, and I noticed a lot of people were upset, and they're like, how dare they do this twerking thing, and they're I guess advertising to pedophiles and things like that. I'm sorry, I just didn't see that. I've seen kids around twerking and stuff. Is not something that I'm personally into or something, but you see kids do that because they see other kids do that and they want to do that, and that's sort of a natural thing. I just didn't get the outrage because I was like, I watched the trailer, I did a modicum of research, and just went, it looks like a standard dance thing. It looks like a poster for a dance movie. One of the girls behind her looks like she's an Aphex Twin, which is sort of weird because they photoshopped the fuck out of it. It just, I didn't get really the kind of very puritanical thing about it. I don't really mind if those girls do that. It doesn't, I kind of assumed it would be like an adult thing and the adults would be like, what the fuck are these kids doing here? I thought that was going to be the twist joke of it, actually, when I saw the trailer. apparently it's more about like how girls are sexualized through the media and through friends and things like that. But that's sort of part of growing up. I've heard other takes that are more interesting, that if you read more about, because of the original, it's a French film, not a Hollywood film. Everyone's like, Hollywood, appeals to pedophiles. And I was like, well, I mean, that's not what's really going on here, because it's not a Hollywood movie, but I guess Netflix bought it, so now you consider it a Hollywood movie. That's not... Anyway. It hurt a film that I think most of the people who are really upset about it and probably made videos objecting to it would have never seen. I don't think a lot of those people are going to see a French dance movie or a French language dance movie. I'm not exactly sure where that takes place, but I don't think those people are going to see it. So here's what I'm saying. If anyone who made a video or made more than 2 tweets about it, you have to see that movie, because fuck you. Because I'm so sick of this stuff where people love to get on controversies and, they basically like destroyed this movie because that's not really what it's about actually, and Netflix advertised it wrong and they got all upset and made this into a huge thing. And you know what? I think Netflix didn't advertise it correctly, but I think there are a lot of people who, very much use their social platforms to get a lot of interest in them by destroying this film. So if they are one of those people and you're watching this, I would say make a review of this movie and tell me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen this movie. I might review it, but I've thought about it actually. But to me, it's just a standard kind of realistic drama, a realistic dance drama. And to me, I don't have a problem with that. I actually didn't have a problem with the description anyway. It didn't really upset me. It was just like, if that's what those kids want to do, I mean, I don't, they weren't, doesn't sound like they were doing that against anyone or something like that. And the whole twerking culture is larger and represents a lot more than just the sexualized nature of it, actually. So it showed sort of a more limited view of both that dance, the culture around that dance, and how, young girls should be able to express themselves in that way if they want to. So I found it honestly incredibly disappointing, and I just think if you were really upset, if you were, writing about it and stuff, please see that movie and let people know what you thought of that movie in the same way you used to sort of destroy it without actually researching it. Because a lot of entertainment reporters were talking about how, like, they found out that, like, oh, this movie's actually against that sort of thing, and, oh, oops, and I just read a few reviews and learned about it, and it's like, please do some research, because there's a lot of times, like, I know I do research from for other people, but there's a lot of times when you do research that you find out that someone didn't, like, click on page 2 on a Google search or something like that, and so which that happened to me with the Lost Film File I did today. I'm doing later in the show. So I just think, try to be a little more open-minded. I hope that this film gets some of it. John Barton says, holy crap, this Q's thing is Dear White People all over again. Yes, I'm not as familiar with that controversy, but from my understanding, yes, you are right. And cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat. I also think, like, small indie foreign films have such a hard time reaching an audience that it fucking sucks that this happened in that movie. So I hope more people review it. I'm really hoping, maybe I will review it, but it was poorly presented, but I just which Bruce Parker just said, but I was just disappointed. I was just like, you know what, if that was a dance troupe and I was the parent, I'd be like, okay, I'm just gonna work on my computer. You guys just, like, I'll just be over here and you guys dance and stuff. That's cool. And it's just like, and I the only take on it that I will agree with is one a critic, and I don't remember the Twitter, and I'm very sorry about quoting you, and probably poorly. Someone brought up they're sick of seeing films about someone who is Muslim who's kind of brought, shown Western culture by a white person, which I was like, hey, you know what? That's a good take. I'm okay with that. That I agree with, actually. So, Nick Nitro, hello. Review 1408 because I've been on a Stephen King kick, and also, hey Jim, how's it going? LOL. Thank you for being here. 1408 I've never seen. Cheers to you, and thank you. That's a very generous super chat. I will. Okay, 1408. I never saw that. This was Sam Jackson, and John Cusack. That's interesting. Thank you very much, Nick Nitro. That's really nice of you. Cheers to you. 1408. Okay. I wanted to do the one that was the Netflix one where the woman gets tied to a bed or something. I heard that one was good. Anyway, that's very nice of you, Nick Nitro. Warms my heart. Anyway, cheers to you. All right, moving on. Sorry, I wanted to go off on that, and we did. So there we go. All right, so Netflix and Guillermo del Toro. We have another Netflix story because they sort of run entertainment. I don't know if you heard this. For the past, ever since I've had this show. Which, by the way, I didn't talk about this last time. We're about a year in on Movie Crap Live. This is a year of Movie Crap Live. So I wanted to, by the way, I don't know if I talked about it enough last week, but I wanted to thank everyone who's been watching and doing super chats. And you guys, I know I've been thanking you a lot during this, but no, I'm not talking about Misery. It's a Netflix movie. It's Gerard's Game. Thank you, Bruce Parker. I have a good chat. All right. Anyway, I wanted to thank everybody who's been watching the show for the past year. Anyway, I did not. This is all stuff I should have done at the beginning, but it's been a really amazing ride this past year doing the show, and I really, really fucking love it. And it's just thank you all so much, because I don't think this show would be what it is without all of y'all. So, all right. So anyway, let's get into Guillermo del Toro on Netflix. This is the cast of the stop motion Pinocchio film he is doing. Gregory Mann, a newcomer, is playing Pinocchio. Ewan McGregor is Cricket, not Jiminy Cricket, and David Bradley is Geppetto. He also has Tilda Swinton, Christoph Waltz, Finn Wolfhard, Kate Blanchett, John Turturro, Ron Perlman, who just shows up when anytime you just get him with the Guillermo del Toro pack. Tim Blake Nelson and Vern Gorman, who I don't know who that is, but I'm sure he's great. That sounds really cool. It's cool that they're letting him make. Thank you all for all the nice things in the super chat, by the way. They're letting him make this dream project of his. I have previously said I don't really get why anyone would want to make a Pinocchio movie, as what's considered one of the greatest animated films of all time is Disney's live action Pinocchio. Disney's animated Pinocchio from the 40s. It really is. It's still to this day is one of the. Sorry, Buster's trying to knock over the camera again. Still to this day. So I sort of don't get why you would want to do that, but I guess Guillermo wants to try, and good for him. He also signed a big overall deal with Netflix that's going to let him develop movies and TV for there. He's made a lot of stuff for them already, including Troll Hunters. A lot of people are talking about In the Mouth of Madness possibly being for there. I think Guillermo del Toro is a great filmmaker for them because as someone who watches Book of Life almost every week because of my daughter now, he is really good at introducing new filmmakers, and he has a good eye for talent. Look at what he did with Andy Muschietti, who he introduced to the world with Mama. Now he's doing, the Flash movie, and did the It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, as well as making blockbusters and making artistic stuff. He's good at award stuff. He's good at bigger movies. I think this is a great deal for Guillermo del Toro because he's always had trouble making stuff, and that's stuff that's too expensive, so I really hope this turns into something. So, yeah. Okay, one little story, and then I guess Tenet. We got to talk about Tenet. If you do a movie news show, got to talk about Tenet. But Randall Park and Daniel Day Kim are working on a heist movie. Apparently, like two down on their luck guys. It's supposed to be sort of it's being called a lot like an Asian heist movie or an Asian Ocean's 11. It's going to be at Amazon. That actually sounds really cool. Hi, Matt Lippy. Are you the guy I know from back in the day? I wonder. Anyway, yeah, sounds like a cool movie. Not much is known. We have no title on that. It's apparently just being developed at Amazon. Sounds pretty cool. Also, this came out this week that Olivia Wilde is possibly directing a Spider-Woman movie. I say that because no one's officially sure. It sounds like pretty much probably. She did retweet it with a spider emoji, so good for him. Anyway. We think... Oh, it is Matt Lippy. How's it going, Matt? It's been a long time. Nice to see you here. Thank you for watching. Olivia Wilde is... yes, so she's going to do a Spider-Woman movie. We don't know when that's going to be. She has 2 other films set up at other studios, actually. She has a thriller that's pretty much cast. She has a holiday movie at Universal. So this is like maybe be her 4th film. We don't have... Obviously, she's just been... started the development process if she's doing it. So it's so long in the future that there's no possible way to know like when this is coming out or if it's going to be Spider-Woman or what version of Spider-Woman or any of stuff like that. But she's apparently going to do that. She has a lot in development at the moment, so we'll see when COVID ends. But it sounds like, at the very least, this might be her third movie, but it's not going to be her next movie. So that's the deal with that. There's not much going on. But don't you mean good for her? I should have just said good for her. I should have just said good for her. You're right, Embla T. Embla T's keeping it real. Also, Space Jam 2, the outfits for Space Jam, the new Legacy or whatever, showed up. LeBron James showed it in the outfit, but he didn't have, like, Lola or Bug. Like, it's all about LeBron in this advertising. It's like, dude, like, Space Jam wasn't just about Michael Jordan. It was about Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny, and you're selling... Like, Michael Jordan was smart enough to know what the ad campaign was, but LeBron isn't, so good for him. I'm not comparing basketball, I'm just saying in terms of advertising Space Jam movies, Michael Jordan was better. But he also showed the jersey, which looked awful. It looked really gimmicky and stupid. So also the Space Jam, the Toon Stars or whatever, no, the Monstars and the Toon Squad, those... I was just like, bro, like, it's just not working at all. It was an embarrassment. I'm not really that excited for the Space Jam movie. I just think I don't know. I don't like how they're advertising it. Just show me LeBron and Bugs doing something funny. That is a movie I want to see. Not just like him and, you know, just, it's like, I don't want to just see him. Like, what's the point of that? I want to see LeBron interact with the Looney Tunes. That's why kids wanted to see it. Like, kids barely knew who Michael Jordan was. It's just like, you're not understanding why people want to see a Space Jam movie. Like, get over yourself. I remember my idea for a Space Jam sequel, Nathaniel Foga, and I still think it should happen. Check out that video. If anyone wants to post it on the chat, I appreciate it. You don't have to. Just search Jim and Space Jam, and it's the other thing. Nintendo made me make that video. He didn't, but sorry did. All right, so Tenet. Because we always got to talk about that. First, a final trailer and early reviews came out. It seemed like when early reviews come out now, because we haven't had early reviews for a blockbuster, everyone jumped on, particularly IndieWire, for calling it humorless, which I was like, I mean, I guess that just describes most Nolan movies, because they're not funny, or, you know, they're fun, but not in, like, the funny way. I was like, okay. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but people really jumped on it. I thought that was like, you know, let's, like, calm down. I think everyone wants my Space Jam. I would like my Space Jam too. HBO, hit me up. Warner Media. I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't mind the paycheck. But yeah, so everyone jumped on the Tenet thing. I thought it was dumb because I was like, okay, clearly like film Twitter needed to have a release and jump on earlier reviews of something, so whatever. But we did get sort of a plot description a little bit, and we got that in the final trailer. And that actually, what's crazy is when I actually read what this movie was about, I was like, why were you making vague trailers that made this look like Inception 2? The actual plot of this movie is kind of cool, and you like, whatever, guy. It was just like, the first time I read something that made me really want to see it was seeing the final trailer, which basically the idea of that we're getting like small pieces of stuff from the past, because there is this time travel technology, and we learn that a big war is coming, and they're not exactly sure what it is, and they're slowly learning about it through time travel. And I was like, that sounds really cool. Why didn't you tell me we're fighting future war? Why call it Tenet? Why not call future war? I don't know, but I'm not Christopher Nolan. I just think whatever. Anyway, I just think they could have done a better job with that. So it just, anyway. But the one thing, there's going to be an early, I know there's a Travis Scott song, which that sounds just bizarre to me, but there's going to be an early release in select theaters that are like open on August 31st, which is weird. My city doesn't have any theaters open, so I don't have a choice. I do know that there's some places that there's a loophole in it where if your theaters aren't playing it, in Cinemark you can rent out a theater for $100 and they give you certain movies to pick from, and one of those is Tenet. So if you and a bunch of friends, enough friends that it would save you money basically to see Tenet for like $100 some, you could do that with Cinemark theaters actually on August 31st. I didn't hear the Trey Songz thing, but it sounds it just sounds like Tenet, The Wrath of Katie Holmes-Gass. Oh my god, thank you for that, Bruce Berger. But it just sounds like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Tenet. I wish they would just pick a release date. It's sort of annoying. I know apparently they're expecting it to have like great legs, basically, box office term, so that people would show up. They're not looking at a big like opening weekend. They're hoping people will show up like throughout the month and stuff like that. I don't know when and if I'm going to see it unless like someone sends me a screener or I torrent a cam or something. But it doesn't sound like I'm going to get to see Tenet anytime soon, really. But yeah, I don't know. It keeps moving around its release date, and a couple of people have said that Warner's isn't actually doing its marketing that well. I've heard apparently it's more of Christopher Nolan's publicist, actually. So, all right. So moving on to, this is actually sort of interesting. I didn't know Syfy was doing a late night animation block called for adults called TZGZ. God, that's stupid. Okay. But they have two new shows. One's called Wildlife. The other's called Magical Girl Friendship Squad. I'm kind of curious about a sci-fi adult animation block. That sounds semi-interesting to me. So, in two newses and then two newses. Oh, I should have moved that up. Why didn't I? Anyway, whatever. The new On the Rocks, which is a Sofia Coppola movie. It's going to be on Apple Plus with Rashida Jones and Bill Murray about a young daughter or his daughter, who's played by Rashida Jones, thinks her husband, played by Marlon Wayans, which is cool to see him in like a different kind of art house movie. You don't see him a lot, and he's usually good in them. Marlon Wayans has more range than people realize, but he is in. They think he is cheating on his wife, and Bill Murray and his daughter Rashida Jones are trying to like catch him in the act and find out if he is actually doing that. It looks sort of fun. It doesn't look like amazing or anything, but it looks like, I might, if I had Apple Plus, I would watch it at least. It looks like a fun Sofia Coppola romp, basically, but we'll see if it's any good beyond that. Also, Robert Eggers' Viking movie had a bunch of casting news. Some of that was interesting, but the main thing, this is amazing. Robert Eggers has casted Bjork as a witch in his Viking movie. I don't know why we were talking about Batman. Bjork has found the greatest. Bjork is playing a witch in a movie about Vikings. 2020 is so much better now. Bjork is a witch in a Viking movie. That just sounds like destiny to me. I love this. Please, I hope Robert Eggers. This Viking movie sounds awesome. I didn't even look up who else was cast. I was like, this movie, I'm there. Bjork is a witch in a Viking movie. Thank you. 2020, it worked out. Just let this Viking movie happen. All right. Sorry. I just think that is awesome. Robert Eggers. Let's do. He made The Vitch. What was his other one? Anyway, whatever. Robert Eggers is cool. I like that guy. I'm excited for Vikings. Who's Bjork? Whatever. Oh, The Lighthouse. How did I forget that? Anyway, so the director of New Mutants says Americans should go to the movies because it's an essential business, because basically the power of cinema, blah, blah, blah. Director of New Mutants, just like, bro, no. But literally the CDC has said that's the last thing you should do. The governor of New York said it was the least essential business. We're really fighting with this whole, like, keeping people not sick and going to movies. Don't be making big public statements. I think it's because he just wants, people to see New Mutants. Good luck to you. I mean, I can't, even if I wanted to, but it's just like, I just don't know what he was thinking with that, but good for him, I guess. Apparently there's going to be a Kraven the Hunter movie from the director of Triple Frontier, J.C. Candor. That could be a thing. This is as well, came out around the time you got the Spider-Woman news. I think a lot of people, even Spider-Man fans, big Spider-Man fans on Twitter, were like, yeah, I don't really want to see a Kraven the Hunter movie. So I think like maybe they're scratching the bottom of the barrel with the Spider-Man stuff. Kraven the Hunter is like not really a favorite of mine at all, so I don't really get it, but whatever. There's, if you've ever seen the Cronenberg, now this is cool actually. Do you guys not know who Bjork is? You made me found. Okay, Bjork. Look up Bjork. Bjork is cool. Anyway, I want to say I really like Bjork. I grew up. It's like debut, and just look up It's Oh So Quiet Bjork. Just look up that. Anyway, there has been a crit, but I don't think with that director. But anyway, so there's going to be a Dead Ringers reboot on Amazon. Sounds like it's going to be a TV show. Dead Ringers was a great Cronenberg film. A lot of people, from what I'm reading and hearing on podcasts, haven't actually seen it, but it's really good. Everyone's making me feel old because I really like Bjork. But anyway, Dead Ringers is a great movie. It has Jeremy Irons, right, as twins in it. In this reboot, it's going to be Rachel Weisz as the twins. That sounds really cool to me. I like the gender swip on it. He plays like OBGYNs. I think having Rachel Weisz in it could be a cool spin on it. I'm actually excited for it. I don't know who else is involved in it, but her being in it twice sounds really cool to me. And I like Dead Ringers. It's a cool movie. Maybe when this Amazon show comes out, I should review it. I had a friend who's really into Cronenberg, and I haven't seen as much Cronenberg as I should, but he was like, no, see this one. And all the people I know who are really into Cronenberg want me to see Dead Ringers. So, and that's always a good... By the way, that is always a good sign. If someone who's a fan of a director says, no, watch this one. You should watch that one. That's usually, unless they like fucking Zack Snyder. So there's... I'm going to talk about 3 trailers in a row here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm making good time. Okay, I was worried, and... Sorry, you don't need to know. I actually have a cool rumor. A Mad Max rumor, which I heard thanks to Jeff Snyder, not Zack Snyder. So 3 trailers. One is called Let Him Go. I actually thought this looked neat, but I would not pay for it on demand. I would just watch it on a streaming service. It's called Let Him Go. It has Kevin Costner and Diane Lane in it, and their grandson, who I guess their son died, and then his wife remarried, and they have their son. Anyway, their grandson of the son who died is with this woman who remarried. It's like this creepy, awful family, and they can't see their grandson. They're trying to, and there's going to be violence involved. It looks like a baby boomer's wet dream, but it looks like a fun one. So I'm a little more down for this. It might be too much. It's probably just a movie while I do the time code for these and drink beer and watch a dumb action movie. It looks like it fits real well into that. I probably won't see this ever, but I enjoyed the trailer, sort of. There's also the Death on the Nile trailer. I don't really like this Kenneth Branagh movie. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Kenneth Branagh fan. I know some people are. Although I like his Hamlet. I will say I do actually like his 90s Hamlet a lot. But I didn't really like whatever the first one, Perot one was. His mustache looks ridiculous. This movie doesn't look that much better. Just because it has a crazy cast in it, I'm just not really into it. But they're making more Perot movies. This is what Kenneth Branagh does now with his Thor clout, I guess. Remember he made Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit? Jesus, nobody does. Except for, like, it made Chris Stuckman make a video essay, which I still see people post. That's the legacy of Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit. And then finally, there was a trailer for Class Action Park, and that looks cool. I'm curious, is it going to be better than both the Johnny Knoxville movie and the Defunctland video? You know, that's what I wonder. Apparently people have said it is really good, but I have not heard from anyone who's seen either of those things. And then finally, oh yeah, Kenneth Branagh was in, and he is in Tenet. Kenneth Branagh is in Tenet. So we talk about, technically, Kenneth Branagh related properties. We talk about them a lot. And this is a story that Chris Stuckman was in Dunkirk. God, that fucking guy wishes. This is a Will story that he sent me, but it sounds like a cool film. It's a film called Stuckmanized. You know when he does that, he just uses like various God. I'm not a Chris Stuckman person. Anyway, forget it. There's a film called Monster Problems. It's about if giant monsters sort of took over the surface of the earth, and this guy, played by Dylan O'Brien, has to go find his kind of high school girlfriend through all this and make his way through. It was called Monster Problems. It is now titled Love and Monsters. It was pushed to 2021. It has now been pushed back to October 16th on premium on demand. I think this is honestly because they don't studios are not sure what to do right now, and next year the release date schedule is getting crazy, and they're just sort of trying to push things off of the schedule as much as possible right now, because they really don't know what's going on, especially with productions supposedly about to gear back up. I think that's a little everyone's being a little too optimistic, but I still understand what they're trying to do right now, so that's probably what happened with that. So anyway, but thank you for Wilde, because that actually sounds like a cool movie. I actually sort of want to see that. I haven't seen a trailer, but it premise, and also Dylan O'Brien, I feel like has so many issues like trying to make this guy a movie star. He has so much charisma. I've never watched Teen Wolf, but I've enjoyed him in the Maze Runners. I haven't seen Maze Runner 3. Maybe that'll be my Jim Makes Time Code movie. Sorry. I don't know why I share this with you. I don't hate Chris Stuckman. There's a lot worse people who review movies on YouTube, trust me. So this is a rumor that I found really cool, and I'm going to talk about it now. Mad Max Furiosa is... It seems like Anya Taylor-Joy is most likely kind of the favorite to play Furiosa whenever George Miller makes the film he's making now. But he's also trying to get another star in there to kind of sell international backers like Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, where it's just not sold on the name of Mad Max. So who are they talking about? Who are they talking about to do that? They're looking at a character called Dementus, who's going to be half kind of like scarred with like chrome on him and stuff like that. And they're looking at a big Australian star. Now, who is this big Australian star? Because George Miller does look to work with Australians. And they're seriously talking to, and they're close to getting Chris Hemsworth to be the other star in this Mad Max film. That sounds really cool to me. It's apparently not official. It's not full, but it's sort of a rumor that Jeff Snyder said at the end of his podcast. But as I'm a huge Mad Max fan, and I do like the Jeff Snyder, it's called the Snyder Cut, it's a cool podcast. But he mentioned he has a rumor of the week, and that was his, and it sounded really cool. So that is sort of a rumor, but he feels it is far enough along to share it, then I will share it with you, and that was one of them. So that sounds really cool to me. I think Chris Hemsworth would work really well in a Mad Max film, especially with George Miller. Sorry I shut on Chris Stuckman. I don't really have a problem with him. I'm sorry. He's not like my favorite or anything. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. I have no issues with him if he ever wants me to work with him. Anyway, so I'm going to take a break. Yeah, this is okay. We made good time. I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to do a lost film file on Ralph Bakshi's Bobby's Girl. I'm going to talk about the Groovians, which Ryan really pushed me to review, which I'm doing, and then do the Hulu recommendations, and then questions. So I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then, yeah, I don't have a video this time. Sorry. It was a crazy week. But, hold on. Will got in here just in time. Will says we just got the release date for Education of Friedrich Fitzel now. Kudos for Dylan choosing some out there material. Has a unique premise too. We just gotta... do you mean you just gotta have the release date? I think that's what he means, right? Is that what you're talking about? Anyway. Cheers to you, Will. Thank you for the cool stories. I think that's what he means. See, now I want to say and learn what this movie is, because I think you mentioned it, but I cannot remember. Sorry. Anyway, I do have to go to the bathroom, so I will come back and react to that. But thank you very much for the super chat, Will. Dylan O'Brien used to be a YouTuber? I didn't know that. That's interesting. It's okay, Will. You're cool, man. Alright, so I will be right back. And then we will do the stuff, and then the questions, and all that stuff. Alright, cool. See you soon. Okay. Oh, I was gonna bring. Oh well. No, maybe I'll get it. I wanted to show you guys something. I forgot it. Well, anyway, I'll leave this thing. This is Sophie's, actually. I'll leave this guy in charge for 1 second. I wanted to get something. Can this guy stay here? I think this is apple clumps, right? I wanted to get something. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry. Okay, so first off, Sophie's been watching a little of this. She got Netflix sort of recommended it to her, and she got into it a little. But she's been carrying this guy, which she's had. I think it's called Apple Clumps a little bit. So I've watched more MLP in this week than I ever have in my entire life. So, yeah. Paleo knows that that's my joke, is that I know nothing about. That I know nothing about MLP. Which, someone asked me on the Discord, who's the nicest fandom, and I said, the Bronies, because they accepted me despite the fact that I literally know nothing about MLP. Like, they were super nice to me. And the first time I watched MLP was at the last MomoCon. And he kept looking at me like, what do you think? You've been to all these Brony cuts. Anyway, sorry. I kept calling apple clumps because I don't know anything. I know there's like a main six. I don't know. But anyway, so Sophie's watched a little bit of that. So, but yeah. And that she's had for... Little girls just get My Little Ponies in them. Like, people just give it to her. Anyway, before we get into that, so the guy who draws my logo thing that you see at the beginning of the show, beginning of my videos, he draws labels for this beer company, KCBC. I wanted to show this off. He usually gives them to me. I bought this recently, and I think they're really cool. It's called Too Fast and Furriest. Look at that. That's cool. I'm not going to drink. These are like special beers. But this is his illustration. I did this the wrong way. Hold on. I just wanted to show these off. Anyway, that's all. I'm not drinking those. I just wanted to show them off because he's a great illustrator, Earl Holloway. His link's always in the description of my videos, but I just want to show him because I'm proud of that guy. He's a good friend. Anyway, shout out to, if you see KCBC where you are, drink them. They're always good beers, and you support. If you're like, hey, that looks like Jim's logo, because it's literally the same illustrator. So I think they're mainly in Brooklyn, but around the East Coast. And I don't know their distribution. Don't quote me on that. But if you live in New York and you see it, drink one. They're pretty good. They're not paying me. I have gotten a lot of free beers from them. Those I actually paid for. But anyway, let's get into... I'm going to have a hit of Red Bull. Oh, we almost killed a Red Bull. And then get into this lost film file. Sorry I did so much nonsense. Too much nonsense tonight, maybe. Isn't that movie crap live when you do a bunch of nonsense? Right? I think that's like this show. Anyway, alright. Well, okay. I can drink it if... Well, then I can't open the next one until someone gives me a super chat. But, I drink them past the break just to give me some energy. Because it's a little late and I've been doing stuff all day. Buster, do you want to be on the stream again? You look very cool right now. No, he's... Anyway. If you want me to dab, though, gotta get a super chat for that. But, regardless, let's do a lost film file tonight. Now, I don't usually do lost film files during the show, but if there's, like, enough info to do during the show, and it's not super long, like my last one, which was the Spielberg one, then I will. Which I'm really proud of the Spielberg one, actually. But this one I'm actually proud of, and now I need water. This one I'm proud of as well because I found new information on it. But drink some Fruitopia? Maybe. All right, so let's talk about this time on Lost Film File. I'm going to talk about a Ralph Bakshi project that never happened, but got a lot of press actually, and has been talked about a lot, and was developed for a while, and even played a role early on in sort of getting kind of right before he was about to do the Mighty Mouse: The New Adventures. Now, this was developed by John Kay. Content warning: I don't endorse who John Kay is or agree with him as a person or anything, but he's still a part of animation history. So I'm looking at it in that way, and I do not excuse his actions whatsoever. But while Ralph Bakshi was with John Kay, and by the way, they didn't talk about Ralph Bakshi at all in Happy Happy Joy Joy, which I thought was a little ridiculous. But Ralph Bakshi and John Kay worked together quite a lot in the mid to late 80s, and this was a film that they were actually developing called Bobby's Girl. It was meant to be a parody of 80s teen films like 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club. Now you're probably like, so what's the plot of this movie? I have no clue. I have read countless articles and lost media things and all that stuff. There is no mention of what the plot of this would be. Just kind of some like vague stuff. So that's what we're going off here. I should also add, when this is like a video later, when this is a video later, there'll be pictures of, I have pictures to show of it and stuff. But anyway, so basically what happened, this was made about a year of 1986, before they were pitching it and trying to get it developed, before Mighty Mouse: The New Adventures. But Ralph Bakshi actually pitched it to the president of TriStar Pictures, Jeff Skanasky, and he was actually given $150,000 for the production of the film, and the funding and the pitch of this convinced Ralph Bakshi to move back to Los Angeles, and there was even a huge interview in the LA Times with Ralph Bakshi about him trying to come back, which plays a part into this actually. So he actually, it played a part in him getting back to LA and sort of restarting his career, which would eventually lead to Mighty Mouse: The New Adventures. It's kind of funny that like this failed project led to a huge animated show that would be highly influential, but the reason that all came together never actually happened. But so they got the $150,000 to develop it, and it was going to be a John Kay, Ralph Bakshi thing. They had previously worked together on a Harlem, I think it was called the Harlem Shuffle Rolling Stones video, not the meme one, just a different one, which I should review at some point if that's actually important too. But they actually, they got it, except the guy who was running TriStar loved the pitch, and they were going to do it, and they pretty much got the green light. But then they were unable to make the film because the president of TriStar left. So then they had to re-pitch the movie, which we still don't, to this day, know what it's about. They had to re-pitch it, but then the people didn't like it, who were then the head of the production company, the head of the studio of TriStar. And so they took Bobby's Girl and reworked it. And they were potentially pitching it as a primetime show called Susie's in Love. Again, don't know what this movie or show would be about, but they kind of reworked it apparently, and it got little attention, and then it sort of died. Now, John Kay and Ralph Bakshi had a ton of projects they tried to pitch at this time. I think with Mighty Mouse, it was like the last thing of like 30 or something like that. It's always been something that they worked on and stuff. But in terms of the development of Bobby's Girl, this is what we got from the LA Times article, which came out on July 17th, 1986. He said, they said that he's working on a script and storyboards for Bobby's Girl with 6 gag writers and a team of animators, and they were younger animators. Ralph Bakshi was about 48 at this time. This was beginning his idea to work with younger Cal Arts grads, which he would do with Mighty Mouse: The New Adventures, to quite a lot of success, by the way, when he got, Andrew Stanton and Tom Minton and stuff like that. And this is kind of the beginning of the idea that he wanted to be the old guy in the studio, but he got mainly gag writers and working on storyboards. So I think much like how Ren and Stimpy was developed and Mighty Mouse was developed, more as a storyboard thing than a script thing. It seems like that's what was going on with Bobby's Girl, not Bobby's World. They were not going to have rotoscoping, which was kind of the thing with Ralph Bakshi. Before this, there was going to be no rotoscoping, which we would see in like his other works. I think he kind of went back to that with Cool World and everything like that. He did mention one thing, and this is what we get from sort of whatever Bobby's Girl could have been, is that Bobby's Girl would be a teenage film. It was going to be rated R. Ralph actually said it'll reflect my time, my teenagers, their phone bills. It will take place at it will take a poke at some of the current teenage movies, which Ralph Bakshi believes have relentlessly little to do with the way young people really are. What does that mean? I don't know. So this project sort of ended in the 80s, and that's sort of where I thought it died. And then I sort of actually Then I actually sort of reviewed my notes and researched it, and I actually found a mention of it in a Variety article in 2003 when there was a lot of heat on John Kay when he was doing the before, by the way, anyone had seen the Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon, which had a Ralph Bakshi episode, by the way. Him and Ralph Bakshi were talking about working together again. And he mentioned that they were actually working on picked up the project of Bobby's Girl and were working on it again. So in 2003, in the 2000s, Bobby's Girl came up and they still were talking about it. We still don't know what the plot was. Now, would a film that was sort of based on a Molly Ringwald teen movie, a parody of that, developed by two total perverts, Ralph Bakshi and John Kay, be at all something that would have aged well or be good and not disturbing in any way? There's no way, like, this film would be so awful, but it's interesting. Hear me out, though. I think Ralph Bakshi's made a lot of interesting projects that didn't happen, but this might be one of the most interesting, actually, because it got him to come out back to the entertainment industry, stop painting, and start developing new things, and this eventually led to Mighty Mouse and the New Adventures, which is an important part of animation history, despite the fact that they actually didn't talk about it in Happy Happy Joy Joy, but whatever. But it's sort of kind of fascinating that this weird project even comes up when John Kay's sort of trying to make his comeback. Clearly, that didn't happen, and we still don't know what Bobby's Girl would have been. I don't think it would have been anything good or anything the public should have seen, to be honest with you. But it is interesting that there was an actual movie, a John Kay, Ralph Bakshi kind of team-up movie, and that's how far it got. We didn't get much from the John Kay, Ralph Bakshi collaboration other than the Rolling Stones video and Mighty Mouse and the New Adventures, which obviously one of those became a big deal. But it would have been interesting to see, maybe it would have just been horrible, but maybe it would have been interesting to see what this was, but it is good that what this film, the idea of this film, it's good what the kind of hubbub of this film created, even though we didn't actually get the film itself. We've gotten some stills from one of the animators on his blog. We've gotten some from Ralph Bakshi's book. We've gotten some John Kay's released on his blog, but that's the most we've really seen from it. I don't think I can string together a plot from any of these pictures, but it's still kind of interesting, a project that got far enough along and at least steered the trajectory of animation after that, even if it actually didn't get made. So, is it really a lost film file? Anyway. Alright, so let's talk about Groovians. Sorry. I hope that was interesting. I was researching that and I was like, man, that is actually kind of cool. I like reading about projects that, like, oh, because of this weird project. So maybe that was just cool for me. So anyway. All right. I'm sorry. I love Snake of June. That is an A+ comment. It's like Judah Oski's Dune, except from perverts. I almost want to go out on that. That's really good. Alright. I like that Matt Lippy's still here. That's nice. Nice to see you, Matt Lippy. I knew him back in my Baltimore days growing up, so this is nice. Alright. I do not get this Groovians thing, by the way. Okay. So, Groovians, or the Groovians. Let's talk about it. So, the Groovians was a pilot It's an early pilot on Adult Swim, one of the first three after Welcome to Eltingville, the infamous Saddle Rash, and this one. It was actually created by an artist who kind of does like pop art with animation and the Jetsons, called Kenny Scariff, I think. In a lot of ways, that could sound cool. Oh, an animated pilot from like an artist, from the art scene. That could be kind of a cool idea. If this might have been traditionally animated, I think it could have been much like another Ralph Bakshi thing, the first actual original piece of Nicktoons, another influential thing he did there. His Christmas special, which the animation might be cool to look at, but the story makes no goddamn sense. This could have been like one of those. Unfortunately, it's not even as good as that. It's very bad because they use computer animation. This thing has a crazy voice cast. It has a terrible script. It's mostly because the guy who made this is not from an animation background. And in some ways, when you hear someone who's like, oh, I'm not from the film world, or I'm not from this world, but I'm experimenting, a lot of people think that means something that's going to be so different, it'll be like, man, it's not on your wavelength. Other times, that means they make absolute bullshit. And Groovians is one of those. Now, Groovians is about two teenagers named Jet and Glindy who live on a planet named Jeepers. Okay? And they're like not creatively fulfilled there and are hampered by their dad, or Jeff's dad, who does a game show about his future, which is really stylized and weird. And then they hear about this planet called Groovinia from this guy. What was it? God, the plot of this fucking thing. Their friend Nixon, who tells them about Groovinia. They leave to go to Groovinia to be like creative and stuff. And then they get there, and then they find out they have to pay a tax to, what's it, the Normals? The Normals, yeah. Anyway, this sounds like, an artist who left Kansas and moved to New York and is super salty about it still, and talks about how the Midwest crushes creativity, and you're just sitting there like, yeah, dude, I get it. You don't like your family. It's just like we're talking about this for 3 hours, and like you're drinking a lot of wine. But it's a pretty awful plot, and it's really stupid, and the scripts don't make sense. But it has a crazy voice cast, most likely because this guy is probably fairly well respected and been in the New York art world and met a lot of people and was able to pull a lot of favors or sell them art or something. I have no clue how this guy got this, but here's the voice cast. Jet, the main guy, is voiced by Paul Reubens. Then his girlfriend Glindy is Drina De Niro, who is the daughter of Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro's father, by the way, was an actual artist, so I think she might actually know him from that. She does some acting. I might be filling in a bunch of holes here, but that's just how I think she got into it. Nixon is actually voiced by Vincent Gallo. I don't know if any of you know who Vincent Gallo was, but people considered him a real person because he was in a big person because of Buffalo 66 and I guess Brown Bunny and that whole thing, and the Glassjaw video. Anybody remember the Glassjaw video? And then they actually have his dad is played by Dennis Hopper, which is crazy that Dennis Hopper is in a cartoon. They have Debbie Mazar, RuPaul as well. It's just wow. So this actually did air on Adult Swim as a pilot. It then, like a year later or so, aired on Cartoon Network as a pilot. But it just reeks of something that everyone thought this could be a new and different idea, and it just is awful. There is one good part. The B-52s do the theme song, and I love the B-52s, and they're really great at the theme song. I thought they did a wonderful job, actually. But it is really bad. It's bad CG animation in the early 2000s. It wasn't ready for that. I don't actually think it fits Adult Swim. It's like sort of adult. There's like one part where someone has to put a key in a tree, and it's like weirdly sexual. But it's sort of like not mature enough for Adult Swim, but it's like almost like too inappropriate for Cartoon Network. It sounds like something that should be on the Syfy adult animation block or something. It just doesn't sound like anything that like anyone would want, and it doesn't sound like this guy should be writing like plots and stuff. One funny thing when I was like looking this up, so when I was looking this up and I kept looking up stuff like that, and I was very confused. So the way like Wikipedia breaks up the writers on this, it says like, Jordan Rennick, Michael Ryan, and then it says Redman. And I went, wait. The rapper Redman wrote the plot, helped write the Groovians? No. Unfortunately, that would be great. I would love that. It's this guy Scott Redman instead, so that's unfortunate. But it was actually directed by someone who worked on Invader Zim. It had a lot of stuff on there, but this is like very painful because it's just like kind of like all these kind of weird art ideas, and you can kind of see something that could have been interesting if they had made like a traditionally animated thing. I think this would be interesting to watch, but the CG makes it so horribly ugly that it just is just absolutely unappealing. It is like someone like took like something that was like, oh, that could have been an interesting little short film pilot, and just crushed it to death. And then it's already written horribly that just falling in love with the character design and the weird animation just completely falls apart. So it's just so bad. I don't know why they even let this air. This seems like something like they should have known in production, like, this is not good. I sort of like the Normal's bad guy design is alright, but that's as far as I'll go with it. This is a horribly cursed pilot. Like, I get why people really, this is like infamously bad, because it's just like, it's boring to sit through. It's just like someone had enough connections to make an animated pilot, but not enough connections to make a good animated pilot, which is sort of interesting. He just like threw celebrity voices at it and stuff like that. I like that Dennis Hopper was strange enough to try to do this. He tries so hard, but this is, oh my god. This is I don't know. I like the B-52 song. I see Ryan mentioning that. I really do like the B-52's theme. That was the best part about it. But this just reeks of just like a bunch of executives thinking they were going to remake the mold, and just like falling so flat and leaving with this and like, well, we have to air it because we have it, and it's just so unwatchable. This is like made to live on, to be reviewed by people on YouTube. It is not made to be consumed. It is like, really the plot of this is just somebody complaining that like, art can't exist and this world crushes creativity. And it's just like someone's weird ego about their own creativity, and not, having the promise in like some Midwestern town, or that they believed, and really it had nothing to do with, moving to New York or anything. It just, they didn't have the talent or the skills or the exposure, and they shouldn't necessarily think like just because they moved to that town that, that's why suddenly they're amazing. So this is just like everything I hate about pretentious artists and awful early 2000s character design. It is like a vomit of CG and bad ideas, and you're just watching it looking horrified. But you get a cool B-52 song, you get Paul Rubens barely being Paul Rubens, you get a weird Dennis Hopper, and then you leave and you groove on out, because the Groovians has now infected your soul. Alright, I hope that works. I don't know. I hope Ryan liked that. Alright. So the final segment of the night. Let's get into this. Let me get... Okay. Alright, so... Groovians is for grown-ups. Bruce Parker, you're right. Alright, oh man, I should have refilled my water. And my empty Red Bull. I said Debbie Mazar. Don't worry. Alright, so, let us... I've done Quibi. I don't think I'm ever going back to Quibi, as much as they email me. So now let's talk about Hulu Recommendations. Hulu, or Hulu Picks, for August 2020. I want to thank Robert Cheek for being on the show, for helping me out and doing recommendations. I will go to him shortly after we get to my recommendations, but you should check out his channel if you're watching this on the stream. His channel is linked in the description down below, and you should subscribe. I realize I wasn't subscribed despite watching several of his videos, and I felt really bad about it. So make sure you subscribe so I don't feel as bad. But Hulu's an interesting streaming service. It doesn't have the on-demand option, I will say, much like Amazon Prime. But One thing it does have that's like Amazon Prime is it has this premium Hulu thing where you have add-ons like Adult Swim, Showtime, things like that. I really don't like that. In fact, Google for a while, when you type in a movie and it would say which streaming service it's on, would just say Hulu and not Hulu Premium. If it says Hulu Premium, this is not one of those. I'm not recommending anything that's on the Hulu Premium thing. I really don't like that it does that. I sort of wish you just have Hulu, and this add-on thing is just confusing, frankly. But whatever. So I wanted to tell you like some cool things to watch on Hulu, which there are several. Now, one thing, and this got canceled, and Rob Cheek also brings this up, is High Fidelity. It was shot around my neighborhood here, and recently got canceled. That's really unfortunate. I really like that show. I like its spin on the idea of high fidelity. I never really reviewed it. Maybe I should have. I'm sure that wouldn't have helped things with the ratings, but it's probably killed because of COVID, frankly. But unfortunately, it's ended. But the first season is actually quite good, so check that out. I also, another show that got canceled too soon that's on here is Happy Endings, which is a sitcom I really liked. I really liked that. I don't know how well it ages now, but it's really, really funny. It's a great sitcom. You should check that out, as well as they have the original Powerpuff Girls. Whenever we want to watch Powerpuff Girls with Sophie, we use Hulu to do it. So it's a great way to enjoy the classic Powerpuff Girls. It might have the new Powerpuff Girls on there, but I would never watch it, and how would I ever know if I'm never going to look it up or watch it? And if it is there, I try to ignore it. Anyway, it also has Booksmart. We just talked about Olivia Wilde as a director. If you've never seen Booksmart, Hulu's a great place to do it. And it's a fun enough movie. I don't know if it deserves as much praise as people are getting it, but I enjoy it all the same. I know I never reviewed it, but it's a good movie. It also has Mission Impossible Fallout. It has most of the Mission Impossibles, but that's a really good one, and that's the last one. And if you've never seen it, that's a fun watch. As well as it has most of the Star Trek films, and although I could say just see a Star Trek movie, and I think I've told people to watch this before, but Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan is the best Star Trek movie, and is one of the best sci-fi films of the 1980s. As well, hold on. Scrolling down. All right. As well as it has Let the Right One In. That is one of my favorite horror films. I don't know why I haven't reviewed that yet, but I should. I really love Let the Right One In. The cinematography is gorgeous. It's a great movie. If you've never seen Let the Right One In, you absolutely should. As well as it has Heathers, one of the great cult movies of the 80s. It might be a little more... I don't know if that ages well, but it is there. and you should check it out. I've always enjoyed Heathers. I grew up watching it a lot. They also have Dora and the Lost City of Gold. It's a real fun movie. I've been wanting to rewatch it with Sophie since she's gone into Dora the Explorer, and I see them advertise it on the Pluto channel a lot. But Dora and the Lost City of Gold is really, really cool. Well, it's not really, really good, but it's a fun enough movie. You know, it's fun for what is sort of a Brady Bunch, 90s movie take on Dora the Explorer. I thought it was kind of fun. Directed by James Bobbins. Anyway, he directed The Muppets, and he's pretty good at it. I wanted to bring up Little Woods. The director did Candyman and is going to be doing Captain Marvel 2. I kind of like to promote, when you hear about these directors doing big movies and everyone has opinions on them, you should see those movies. I haven't watched this movie, but if you're going to talk about Captain Marvel 2 ad nauseum and you're excited for Candyman, maybe you should check this out. Will said it was sort of okay. So going off that, hey, but if you're excited for both those movies and you want to see what that director was up to before, it is there on Hulu. As well as they have Creed 2. Not my favorite Rocky movie, sort of a standard Rocky movie, to be honest with you. But if you enjoyed Creed, it's worth a night watch. You'll have a good enough time. They have 3 Identical Strangers, which is a pretty good... I really like that documentary quite a lot. I saw it in theaters, actually. I never reviewed it. I have no clue why. But it's about 3 kids triplets, who were separated and adopted by 3 separate families, and then they sort of met up with each other later in life and had all this publicity and learned of all these like weird eugenics testing things that were going on with that adoption that they're trying to figure out with nature versus nurture. It is incredibly fascinating, and it is worth a watch. Then we have Robin Hood Men in Tights, which is a classic Mel Brooks I grew up watching a lot. I don't know if that holds up either, but Dave Chappelle's in it, and it's with Mel Brooks. How can you go wrong there? Then you have The Fire Fraud. That's Hulu's Fire Festival documentary. I remember they're both kind of the same. So if you're on Hulu and you never watched it, go ahead, have fun. They also have Risky Business, which is early, great Tom Cruise movie. It's a little more moody than you'd expect. It's not just about him, doing the underwear socks dance. It's actually like kind of got some mood and interestingness to it. You should actually check out Risky Business. You'll like be sort of surprised how moody and weird it is. It is a dumb 80s movie about a kid starting a brothel in his house, but it's like a little more existential than you'd expect one of those to be. I recommend Risky Business. It has the Beatles 8 days a week. This is a Ron Howard directed documentary about the Beatles touring years, as well as they have Dave with Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver, about a normal guy who becomes president, sort of. And I didn't know this, they actually have Grave of the Fireflies on Hulu. So if you watch all the other Ghibli stuff on HBO Max, you watch Grave of Fireflies on there. They also have Akira. I don't think I need to tell you why Akira is great. If you've never seen Akira, it's on Hulu. Go watch it. And then The Missing Link, which is a movie I like and no one else does. So let's get to Rob's video here. And hopefully I won't screw this up. Okay. And here we go. And enjoy Rob talking. I'm going to bring
Thank you to Jim for having me on. I really appreciate it. It is unbelievable to go from fan to part of the show. I can't even tell you how appreciative I am for you to have me on your usual Saturday night program. I am here on the set of my own movie review show. That's, of course, the Everyman Movie Review. 2 episodes a week, Thursday and 1 day in between. You'll find that at the link down below. And the Everyman Movie Review is infamous, I guess, for talking about not necessarily the quality or the cinematic value of movies, but whether they're enjoyable or not. So this list may be different than the ones that Jim has had in the past. He did give me a bit of Mission Impossible. Maybe that's because I live so close to the Scientology Center and he keeps confusing me for Tom Cruise. But he asked me to pick 5 movies from Hulu, and I am utterly opposed to doing top 5 lists whatsoever. I think you just cannot boil down an entire platform, to 5 things. Maybe by genre, maybe by director, maybe by type, but definitely not just 5 things. But I undertook the adventure. I'm here. We're going to try to do it. This is the top 5 things you should be watching on Hulu. We'll start at the bottom of the list, and of course that means not necessarily number 5, because I'm going to try and sneak in some bonus things for you during my list. We'll start out with the honorable mentions. Honorable mentions of this list include Parasite, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and honestly, Hulu has a ton of Christopher Guest movies, and you should be watching all of them if you haven't seen them before. But now let's dive into the list. Number 5, Tangerine. Tangerine is, of course, Sean Baker's first offering. I have a soft spot for this movie because it was shot across a few blocks here in LA where I live. And I don't know, maybe I have a thing for filmmakers who later become famous and going back and watching their early works. I think you could see a lot of the more Sean Baker type filmmaking in this movie that he'll later develop in his career with the Florida Project and everything else he's worked on. But in the end, it comes down to, I used to go to the donut shop that's featured in this movie like every day for coffee and donuts. Number 4 on the list is Sorry to Bother You. Sorry to Bother You was a sleeper from back in 2018. At least it was a sleeper in the circles that I run in. It is a fantastic movie about a weirdly near future San Francisco where a telemarketer learns that he can do a lot more selling using his white voice rather than his normal voice, and some shenanigans happen because of that. It has a star-studded cast starting with Lakeith Stanfield, Tessa Thompson, Stephen Yeun, and Armie Hammer. Number 3 is the Amazing Jonathan documentary. Now, I was hesitant about adding this one in because I was going to try to stick to fiction, like movies that were made. But the reason I'm throwing this in is because this documentary basically also blurs the line between truth, fiction, documentary, and something that might have been written ahead of time. It's a documentary by Ben Berman, and by the time you finish it, you will probably feel like I did, and you'll wonder, was this a scripted movie, or did I watch an actual documentary? And what is the truth about The Amazing Jonathan? As a side note, in college, in the early aughts, The Amazing Jonathan was on Comedy Central all the time. And if you're around my age, you've probably seen one of his comedy specials, HBO, Comedy Central, otherwise. And it's weird to see somebody who was like a prime part of your youth in the later stages of their life. So it's enjoyable for that as well. And my last 2 choices are kind of weird. They're not going to be for everybody, but I really enjoyed them and it's my list. So sorry about your luck. Number 2 is The Mandela Effect. I really had a love-hate relationship with this movie. I actually wrote something very similar to this. I moved to LA to be a screenwriter, if you needed to know my backstory. And I wrote something like this, and then I stumbled upon this movie after I finished, and I was like, oh, it's already been done. And it's a good story for those who like to have their noodle canoodled kind of during a movie. It's kind of deep in the science of the Mandela effect. It's very complicated, and the world itself is unreliable, and we have an unreliable narrator as well. It's starring a lot of people who you won't recognize. The most famous names in it are Robin Lord Taylor and Clark Peters. This was a movie that would probably go to Redbox instead of going to Blockbuster in years past, but I think that those are some of the most entertaining movies that you're going to find. So I think this is totally worth it. If you've enjoyed this list, I've done reviews on most of the movies that I've talked about in this list. I've actually discovered a few that I'm going to do reviews about in the future. So make sure you check out the Everyman movie review. The link's going to be down below. And if you'd like, you can follow me on social media at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. So without further ado, my number one choice for the movies on Hulu is Palm Springs. I know, super predictable. It's the one that everybody's kind of talking about. But when you're talking about canoodling your noodle, that is exactly what Palm Springs did. I did a review about it just a few days ago, and I love this movie. I have a lot of stuff going on. I do a weekly podcast with my buddy Corey, or the Anthem Podcast, which is available everywhere. I have projects going on like the Everyman Movie Review. We do short films, we do song parodies, and I'm even running for president for whatever that's worth. So I got a lot going on, but still, I'm going to take the time to sit down and watch this movie again, probably 2 or 3 more times. That's how much I enjoyed it. Palm Springs is, of course, written by Andy Sierra, and it's directed by Max Barbacow. It's starring Andy Samberg, our generation's Adam Sandler, as Niles, and Kristen Milotti, the mother from How I Met Your Mother, as Sarah. It is 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, and I was on the edge of my seat most of the time. I think everybody should enjoy this movie, even if you're not a science tech nerd like I am. I think you'll still find something to love about it. It's Groundhog Day for a new generation. So that's my top 5 movies to watch on Hulu. I'm going to sneak in a little bonus material right now. I always love to do that, and hit you with the top 5 TV shows to check out on there as well. As far as honorable mentions go, you will find all your classic TV shows, everything bingeable, 5-6 seasons with 22 episodes sometimes. So go check those out on Hulu. My number 5 show is Homicide Hunter. Detective Kendra is awesome. You're going to love him as much as I do, I guarantee, by the end. Atlanta is number 4. What do I need to say about it? It's Atlanta. You'll love it. I love it already. It's great. Number 3 is the classic Twilight Zone episodes. They have like the 1960s Twilight Zone, which is amazing and everybody should watch. Number 2 is High Fidelity, the show, not the movie. You're going to find that on there. I was drawn in by the show. I couldn't stop watching it. I binged it all the way through. I think you're going to love it as much as I did. Number 1 is another Canoodle Your Noodle. It's 11/22/63. James Franco in a time travel, space warping, time warping show. It was a sleeper. I didn't hear anyone talking about it when it came out, but I've probably watched the whole series through maybe 3 times now. Definitely worth your time. Go and check that out. So, Jim, thank you for letting me steal this show. Again, I am super appreciative. I've always been a huge fan of Jim's, and I am really glad that I got to be a participant now in one of the things he's doing. He probably doesn't talk about it a lot, if at all, but I was actually the star of one of his short films from way back when we were both living in New York. Now I'm on the other side of the country. And if he doesn't provide a link for it in the show notes, that's okay. This is where you can find it. It's called Meeting an Old Friend. It's amazing. Worth your time. That's an extra bonus thing on top. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Rob. All right, cool. Canoodling your noodle. That was a phrase never heard before we made that. Thank you very much. Yes, he mentions Meeting an Old Friend. That was 17 years ago, Rob. But we're still talking about it. You should check it out. It was written around the time I made Cletus the Fetus, so expect that kind of writing. Anyway, if you are sitting there and if you are watching this and looking for something to watch on Hulu, I hope Rob and I helped you be able to do that and give you something to watch, especially if you're still in quarantine. We gave you lots of great titles, and thank you very much for Rob for doing this. Please subscribe to his channel. He does some pretty cool videos, as well as what's going on with Oh the Anthem, which is a channel I have, which is a channel and podcast I've been on many times. Anyway, I hope we gave you something to watch, and thank you for watching. All right, so let's do these questions. It is getting very late, and I need to answer. I have like 3 Patreon questions, and then I'll answer some of yours, and I don't know how much longer we're doing this. But, oh, we have someone from the UK. That's cool. All right. So, Jordan Bashard, this is a big one. He sent me this one in advance. He said, his question this week, Who, what, when, where, and why do you have such an affinity, passion for film, TV, and animation? Please explain whatever you're comfortable sharing about your backstory and how it all began. I think it was because I watched a lot of TV growing up, a lot of movies. I was really fascinated by them. I always kind of dreamed in that, and just I consumed a lot of media. And then I'd say it started around the time like I noticed someone explained to me that Star Wars had a director, and that sort of started the whole thing. Because then I was like, oh, people make this stuff, and I started thinking about it. And then I took a college film class when I was in high school, and that kind of just it lit up my mind in a lot of ways. And I try to see like the AFI top 10, top 100 list, things like that, and I just kept reading and learning about film history and things like that, and I really liked learning about film history. So I think a lot of it came from like this idea of just like trying to keep up with things, seeing new things, trying to see different kinds of things. So that's something I really liked about TV, is just flipping around and finding stuff that wasn't in my whole thing. So I think a lot of it came from just exploring and being curious and not wanting to go outside a lot. That's probably part of it too. But I would say just watching TV and being a kid who was really just interested and excited by that sort of stuff. I hope that answers the question. I don't know. Anyway, Austin asks, hey Jim, hey Movie Crap Chat. My question, after having to suffer through the Digimon movie last night on Discord watch along, go check out the Discord, Jim. It's a cool place. It has places like General and the Novelty Charts channels. Anyway, really my question is, since the movie has an Angela Anaconda short in front of it, what off-brand animated short would be put in front of an animated movie? No rules, go wild. What off-brand should go in front? I think actually Angela Anaconda would go well in front of like maybe like a stop motion movie, like a weird stop motion movie. Like it was in front of Nine. For some reason I thought of that when I read this question, so I'm gonna go with that one. I have a super chat, and you're opening up. I guess I have to open up the other Red Bull. Mandela Effect. Cheers to you. What do you think DC should do with Wildstorm? I think they should keep Wildstorm around, but I doubt they would get rid of it with Jim Lee there. But I think they should make a Wildcats movie. I think that would be cool. On Netflix or HBO Max, I think that would be cool. Anyway, last Crayon question. We have 3 of them. Will, considering Monster Problems, or now Monster Love, I think it's Love and Monster, anyway, got pushed to 2021 and now pushed forward to this fall in VOD, do you think a lot of smaller releases are going to pull a similar stunt before 2020 has concluded? I think that will happen, actually. I think we will see more of this because they'll see how premium VOD is doing, and if they don't think they can sell it to a streaming service and think it will do well in premium VOD, they will. But you'll see more of this with horror, because horror does well in VOD. You'll see family films and horror. If you're a weird little drama, you're getting sold to a streaming service, which is what happened to the Chicago 7. So I think we will see that, but as for what happened with Monster Problems, we'll only see that with horror and cultish horror and stuff like that, from my perspective. At least I have another super chat. Thank you very much. Nattenbox64. Have you seen the Oliver Stone film Alexander? Cheers to you. I did, but like in college when people were talking over it, I don't remember liking it that much. I know it's very infamous for being bad, so I have not. I'm sorry. But thank you for the super chat. The support is very nice of you. Alright, so let's do a few questions, and then I really need to go because we're going over. Okay. Not plausible. Just a clarification from earlier. The only Infinity Train merch out there is DVD and shirts. Also, it should get 8 seasons because 8 is the infinite symbol, but sideways. That's true. Was that the first question? Question, what's the weirdest convention you've been to? I haven't been to that many, so I guess BronyCon, but it wasn't that weird. Tannerland, speaking of Pinocchio, have you seen the 1996 New Line Cinema adaptation where Pinocchio is a really stiff, dead-eyed animatronic? The puppet is legit unsettling. I saw it like once, and I like parts of it. I don't even think I watched the whole thing in the 90s. I didn't like it. So, Austin, question, David Hasselhoff, magnetic or not? I get the charisma, but I've never been as into it. When I was a kid, I watched Knight Rider, and I watched Baywatch when I was a kid too. So I guess when I was a kid, he was. Now I'm sort of sick of him. Cornbread, did you know that the album Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon actually syncs up with Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 almost perfectly? It's true. I'll be sure to link proof on Twitter. I will retweet that. I'm very curious. I have actually seen Dark Side of the Moon with Wizard of Oz in the theater, believe it or not. I've seen it too many times. Bruce Parker, what would be the worst thing DC could do with Watchmen? I don't know. Keep making comics of it. I would just let it lie, although the HBO series works. I would just say keep making comics of it. Ryan Walterson says, what's a Disney song from a movie or show you can memorize with no hesitation? Probably Never Had a Friend Like Me, any of the Aladdin stuff. I'm not going to sing it now, but I think I could. Not plausible. What genre of movie does the UK do best? I'm thinking probably of comedy. I would say like comedy or kind of like gangster films are really, I don't know about do best, but I think I like their versions of like comedies or thrillers or like the Get Carter kind of stuff. I think they're really great at actually. So, and actually literary adaptations, because my wife and I just watched the old BBC Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and there used to be very thorough kind of literary adaptations, but I used to really like those. So, have you seen Natbox64? Have you seen the Ari Aster film Midsummer? Yes, I have. I have a review of that. I've reviewed both of his films. Rum Ham, favorite 1930s, 1940s cartoon. I don't know, but Mechanical Monsters by Superman is up there with Fleischer's the Superman one. Anyway, what is next to the gym figure? Felix the Cat. I think people answered you, but it is Felix the Cat. I'll put it right here. Anyway, every question I ask is, what's your favorite? I'm sorry. It's okay, Rod. I don't mind. These are fun. Bloxy, Oxenwinkle, do you read any books, and what are your favorites? If so, I don't. Unfortunately, I read Confederacy of Dunces, and I like that. So, question, favorite episode of Dexter's Laboratory? Oh, I don't know. There's too many, and I haven't seen. Best stab you've ever seen? Not anyone I did. Okay. Let me do two more, and then that's it. Let me find someone. Let's see. I'll do. Oh man. Oh, Mandela Butterfly says review Justice League of America 1997 before the Snyder Cut. Why not? Why not? What's Natbox64 says, what was the worst theatrical experience you've ever been to? I don't know if it was the worst. I guess this is the last question. I don't know. Actually, when I saw Spider-Man 2, the good Spider-Man 2, Buster, don't knock everything over. Let me finish, and then you can knock everything over. When I saw Spider-Man 2, these kids kept talking the whole movie, and actually there's one joke they nailed, but it ruined a great moment when Spider-Man tells Aunt May he thinks he killed Uncle Ben, and she gets up, and then these kids go, I'm going to go masturbate. And the whole audience laughed. But it sucked, because that's like a good movie, and like it really pissed me off. And then this big guy stood up and tried to beat up these teenagers who wouldn't shut up, and then they shut up and ran. And they kept singing Jesus Walks, because I had a big beard at the time. That was so obnoxious, because I went back and saw that movie the next day, and my friend was so annoyed. It sucked. Even though the movie was so good, I can ignore people, but that was pretty awful. Anyway, alright, so that was the stream tonight. I'm sorry there were less videos this week because of YouTube stuff, but check out I've finally finished making adult 12-ounce mouse videos until there's a season 4. Check out my 12-ounce mouse season 3 video. Sorry it came out so late last night. My Adventure Time pilot video, the Tubi recommendations. I think there'll be a Mallrats MTV premiere video tomorrow, as well as the Baggy review, which a lot of people didn't realize I did. Did I call Fritz Felix? Anyway, god damn it. The Baggy review, which people were like, why did you review this? Was it because of algorithm? I'm like, I thought I said I was writing a Saber video and I shot this as well. He was aware of it. Anyway, so if there's any confusion, I thought I stated that in the video, but I did it while I was writing it. He knew. I ask people when I'm writing if I do that. Anyway, alright, I think that's it for today. I hope you guys have a good week. Check out my old stuff. I think next week's going to be a cool week in terms of content, but I hope you guys all have a good night. Thank you for being here with me. It's been a cool night, and stay safe out there, stay healthy, and subscribe if you would like to. And thank you for being here.